this exhibition started in Japan, is that it?
No, this exhibition is made specifically for the Holon Museum in Israel. Holon is a town near to Tel Aviv, and it's the Design Museum of Israel, and it will open beginning of June. So we're preparing now.
So there was no relation at all to Japan?
No, we did before another show in that same museum, and that show came from Japan.
Okay, and you were comparing like the wrapping and the pleating with politics of society. Can you explain that a bit?
Yes, I encountered the word gathering. And I was very enthusiastic about the word because it means that you're gathering people around the table or for dinner, that you're gathering food, meaning foraging food, so you just wherever you can find, but also that you're gathering textile to make a skirt or dress. So all these different meanings of the same word all means that you put things together, you bring things together, and in a way you take control of material by bringing it together. For instance, when you pleat, you have a mass of textile, then you bring it together in a slight column that becomes quite severe, like a uniform maybe of school or a beautiful sort of column dress. And so it feels, the first image is very strict, but then it gives enormous movement because, it's free. So the beauty, I think, of the controlled, which actually renders you more free. I see it as a societal requirement, and I see the gathering as a movement in society where we are growing out of the crisis and where we are mending society, step by step, like our mothers and grandmothers, smoking, stitching, pleating, embroidering, knitting, society together again. So I think there's a big relationship between this trend to become very important and what are the needs of society.
And you want to talk a little bit about the importance of the merging of technology
and
with
the hand.
Yes.
What we are going to show in this exhibit, which is a design furniture and lamp exhibit, and in this installation we are going to show how the needlework of our mothers and grandmothers is actually inspiring now industry. For a long time, industry was a bit jealous of the hand because we were just speaking about handmade craft and so on. But in the meantime, people have been developing these machines in such an amazing way that these machines are quasi as amazing as our hands. So with robotism, with 3D printing, with laser cutting, with smart machines and so on, we are now able to emulate this needlework into real industrial proportions. And that, I think, makes a lot of sense because it makes an industrial design which is warm, domestic, frivolous eventually, and which has a lot of texture, and the volume is made in a new way. And so suddenly industrial design doesn't need to be modernistic, strict, stiff, and without fantasy. On the contrary, the new industrial design is going to make us able to do all this fantasy, and therefore you are entering now an age where the hand and machine are hand in hand. And so you still need the hand to do some tests, to do some work before, and then the machine can be inspired by the hand and do something even maybe better or a bit different, but very interesting. So I'm very excited about this new long period to come, where we see the fusion of hand and machine, of man and machine.
Because you notice, like in the design, of course with all the lighting, it's easy to see the beauty of the design and you don't think about comfort. I'm just wondering about some of those chairs. Of course the layering, it's comfortable, it's obvious. But some of the other ones, is it more about the design and less about the function? Or?
It depends really the materials in which those things are made. Often now the materials are soft and receptive and able to stretch and to receive the body if you want. Maybe a few of the pieces are a bit avant-garde still, like in the stages of being developed. But there's many things like the smocked chair of Patricia Urquiola. It's perfectly sort of sittable, loungeable chair, but it has this decorative edge.
No, that one it looked obvious. It would be comfortable.
It depends really of the direction.
And there's that beautiful one. It's kind of like a fisherman's net. It's a beautiful chair. Just.
That is the one of Marcel Wanders.
Yeah, I love that one.
That is really a major sort of icon because it was made very long time ago. I think in the 90s, early 90s, and he did this macrame, which is really homemade. But then he stabilized the material. It's like a high-tech material, so you can sit in this net, and it's sort of self-standing. And I think that chair in itself announced the whole, hype about the handmade and the hippie-ish type of things. Yeah, it's a major piece.
But it was more refined than hippie to me, because there was something very elegant about it.
No, but people always say macrame is like this period.
Yeah, no,
but
of
it's
course.
very sophisticated.
But yeah, it looked really elegant. If you were just to choose like 5 of your favorite pieces, I know that must be really difficult. But just 5 that quickly come to mind. Maybe that's one of them, and the red sofa perhaps is another one. I don't know.
I like. I don't know all the names though, because we're just working on it. There is this very colorful ones which really look like children play. They're like small. Then I like the bake chair. It's a Japanese system where the chair is actually like meat, Chinese meat. It's baked in a cotton bag, and then it's put in a bamboo case, and then it becomes cooked. So this is how domestic it gets. We use all this real homemade vacuum packing, and all these things you would have in your cupboard in your kitchen. And I think that is what makes me so excited about it, because it's so normal, so recognizable, and therefore it's suddenly so enlightening to see that on such scale.
And what came first? The clothes come first, and then the techniques for the clothes get applied to design. Is that how it?
I think that depends also from designer to designer. But I would say there is waves, like all the quilting in furniture now. We will show a beautiful bourreleg piece. Everybody is in these quilted coats in the street, and so there's quilting also in the interior. So it all seems to walk hand in hand, from technique to technique and innovation to innovation. But because of the comfort it sometimes have, I think it will also have a lot of staying power.
And ISSEY MIYAKE, the furniture, it's the first time I've really seen it. Has that existed for a while, or is this something?
I think it's like 3 years old now.
Uh-huh.
It's still under development. It's lamps which are folded like origami, and it's the same system they use for the new collection of clothes. And we will also show highlights of these 3 years of collections in the same exhibit in another space. So you will have furniture and fashion in the same exhibit. And this is the most amazing example of folding, which is another domestic thing. Like you love me not. And it's a very sophisticated, high-tech computer programming, which makes origami 3D. And so all these clothes and these lamps are sort of fold-out principles of a very simple bit of material, whether it's paper, PET bottle material, or recycled polyesters. Then it's folded back into a sort of flat form, and then they put it under a printer, which is printing only there where it's flat, and then when you unfold it, the motif is just scattered over the space. It's very avant-garde, because most fashion types of fashion are before Egyptian, so it's very, very, very old techniques, very traditional. And this is maybe one of the first times you see that a designer wants to get out of the trap of always the same technique. So in that sense, I think it's very interesting.
The show was beautiful, the way they presented it. And so when you buy a lamp, it's going to come flat, right? And anybody can just lift it up like a lantern, and you don't need any...
The bags are also very nice. You know, the smaller items are nice. I have a coat which is very beautiful because it has a very strange... I mean, it's flat and not flat, so it's very flattering, actually. You disappear in the volume.
Which is great. And is this going to travel after Holon?
Let's hope. We have not been working on it, but it would be an ideal exhibition for any region, for instance, which is working on textile and industry.
Maybe you'll be in, what is the next World Fair in... It would work, no?
Do you think that there is something happening in this World Fair? Nobody knows what's happening. Nobody.
Really?
There's not one Italian who is able to tell me what is going on. It's like a big sort of secret. It's about food, I think. The overall subject is food. So there should be lots of interesting things. But if you compare to China, we have no news. It's next year.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.